welcome to Inside Games, the only gaming news channel brave enough to call out a scammy game after the scam already happened.
Yeah, we're not really defending people's wallets here, are we? But it's fine. It's a good story. The air quotes MMO the day before has been officially pulled from Steam after a sweatshop's worth of red flags in development and just a disastrous launch late last week.
Like a lot of good scams, we get a great story out of it. So here's a crazy story about a video game that vanished in historic fashion.
Yeah, this one's for the record books. Write it in there. The day before, one of the weirdest scams of all time, developed by Studio Fantastic.
The game was unveiled in early 2021 with the trailer showing off what appeared to be an open world zombie survival MMO.
Don't have enough of those, right? And the trailer, good old America's been infested with zombies and you're trying to forage resources and survive.
It looked great. Felt like a chance to play in a setting reminiscent of The Walking Dead, and the logo kind of looks like The Last of Us, but here, what's not to like here?
Yeah, kinda, a little bit.
People were really stoked about it. The day before at one point was the most wish-listed game on Steam, garnering the kind of hype which any developer would just kill for.
But trouble's on the way, which, hey, wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what we say when we have staff reporter Charlotte on the show. Here comes trouble.
Oh, the kind of trouble that stays up till 2 a.m. eating crackers, so watch out, world. And speaking of salty, Fantastic delayed the day before the game multiple times from then on. First, the game originally scheduled to release in mid-2022 was delayed to March 1st of this year, 23, citing a switch to Unreal Engine 5.
The circumstances of the announcement stood out as well. They announced this delay in early May of 2022, just a month before the game's original release date in June of 2022. So that's a delay of almost a year, when at the time, the game was supposed to launch in about 6 weeks.
Powerful. It's a real chin scratcher, and the next one is even more suspicious. A trademark dispute with the game's title apparently caused another delay, this time from March 1st to November 10th. All of the problems led to some grumblings that the game was a scam and didn't actually exist.
I wonder where people would get that impression. But the brothers who co-founded the studio, Edward and Ison Gotovtsev, strongly denied these claims in an interview with IGN earlier this year. We'll cover all their comments to IGN right after a quick message from today's sponsor, Factor. Hey everyone, it's December. That means we're getting towards the end of the year, which means we're getting towards the start of next year, which means it's time to start thinking about some dietary habits. I gotta be honest, I have a really bad one. I get really absorbed into my work, and then I just look up and realize I haven't eaten in hours. It's not the healthiest habit. Maybe one of these days I'll figure out how to not get so fixated on what I'm doing, but until then, Factor is an amazing fit into my lifestyle and helps me make healthier choices. Factor offers keto, calorie smart, vegan, and vegetarian options with more than 27 meal options each week. You can even pick from 4 to 18 meals. You can scale up and down. You can skip weeks if you'll be traveling or you have a lot of food. It's very flexible. That flexibility also helps achieve whatever dietary goals you might have. I'm trying to hit around 1,800 calories a day. That gets way harder if I drop 800 calories on some random impulsive meal. And here's the best part. All of this is without any meal prep or mess to clean up after. It's fast, it's convenient, it's healthy, and most importantly, it gets you back to doing what you want to do right away. And hey, we both know that that's, smashing dorks online and stacking wins in games. So thank you, Factor75, for sponsoring today's video. Please go to the link in the description. Use code POG inside DECK50 for 50% off plus free shipping. Thank you, Factor.
Thank you for the support, Factor. Back to the story. Fantastic's co-founders gave an interview to IGN to address the day before's suspicious delays.
Yeah, in the interview, they claimed that the delay had already been planned before the trademark dispute.
Okay, they said that to be on the safe side, they agreed with their publisher, Mytona, to push the date back.
Okay, sure. I don't know if that's better, but whatever, okay. They told IGN that, quote, "We've been creating the game for 4 years. All of these years have been full of sweat and blood to make this game. And for many members of our team, it is unpleasant to hear such accusations."
They also said that they didn't take any crowdfunding from fans and that the day before was, quote, "fully funded by Mytona, one of the largest mobile publishers in the world, who check the game's build at every milestone per our contract."
They might need to have their eyes checked at those milestones too. There was also controversy. This gets even weirder. There was controversy over Fantastic's use of unpaid volunteers on the dev team. What's that all about, Charlotte?
Oh, yeah, it's odd. Back in June, folks noticed a very strange business philosophy on Fantastic's website. As reported by Rock Paper Shotgun, the website claimed that every Fantastic member is a volunteer. Apparently, some volunteers were salaried, but part-time volunteers would receive cool rewards, participation certificates, and free codes. Their descriptions of part-time volunteer which we could stop right there. Part-time volunteer activities sure do sound like work, though. Part-time volunteering at Fantastic includes various activities ranging from translating to community moderating. Part-time volunteers also can offer their unique skills to improve our project or create new special features.
Oh boy, I love developing new special features for other people for free.
So the Gatovtsev brothers explicitly defended the stance in a follow-up statement to Rock Paper Shotgun, citing an example where they paid a studio to localize a previous release of theirs, only to have the localization turn out not so perfect and have to be redone by members of the community.
Yeah, I guess it is cool when people do work for you for free. And that all brings us to a few days ago when the game finally released on early access. In a triumphant tweet last Thursday, Fantastic wrote, "After 5 years of blood, sweat, and tears, we can finally say these words. The day before is out now."
Oh, and they lived happily ever after. That's it.
Woo! Everybody had a great time. We're all playing it. High-fiving each other. Gamers.
Wait, no, that's not what happened. It was a disaster.
Yeah, the game was review bombed on Steam, and its player base immediately cratered, dropping by 90% after just a few days, from a peak of more than 38,000 players to about 4,000. Oh man, they should have worried about the day after.
No.
People hated it. Twitter user Ray2K wrote, "This game is trash. I just asked for a full refund." Another Twitter user, Speedlouver, called the game a human rights violation. Whoa, that is a powerful phrase in this particular moment in history.
Others noticed that the game's not even an MMO. Really, it's just more of an extraction game.
It is, actually. I played it. Twitter, X user, iRed7 said he gave up after playing for 90 minutes and wrote, "Def not worth $40.
IGN, in an early access review, gave the game a 1, calling The Day Before easily one of the worst games I've ever played. Reviewer Gabriel Moss wrote that its map is lifeless, its enemies are idiotic, its PvP is an exploitable mess, its story is pointless, and its progression is downright infuriating."
Not surprisingly, refund requests came flooding in, with more than 46% of buyers asking for their money back.
Finally, on Monday, Fantastic dropped a bombshell. Just 4 days after the early access version they released, they announced that their studio was shutting down.
Aw, everything seems so right. Anyway, yeah, they claim the game failed financially and we lack the funds to continue, adding all income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners.
Sure. They also claim that they worked tirelessly on the game for 5 years and reiterated that they didn't do any crowdfunding or pre-orders for the game.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, and if everyone gets a refund, then okay. Unless money was, it had to be embezzled somewhere along the way. Anyway, Fantastic added, "We apologize if we didn't meet your expectations. We did everything within our power, but unfortunately we miscalculated our capabilities."
And how? Publisher Mytona followed up saying they will work with Steam to open up refunds for any player who choose to make a refund.
Okay, but wasn't the game fully funded by Mytona? How did they run out of money? Fantastic has not followed up, obviously, as of today, and hasn't responded to interview requests from outlets like IGN.
Yeah, the backlash got so bad that another open world survival game, DayZ, released a statement dunking on The Day Before, celebrating the 10th anniversary of the game for no reason at all. In a sarcastic echo of Fantastic's earlier statements, DayZ celebrated their team's boundless efforts, resources, and man-hours that were put into the development of the game. They even included a release timeline for DayZ in a brutal troll of The Day Before and all its delays.
You gotta mess up real bad to have other developers openly dunking on you. Yowza. Normally people conduct themselves with a little decorum, but yeah, it wasn't just DayZ though. This is a feeding frenzy. Other survival games also joined in. Oh man. The official Rust account posted a copy of the DayZ statement, but with DayZ kind of scratched out and Rust written in over everything.
Oh, that's cute. So yeah, this whole thing is just an absolute mess. A rug pull of unprecedented proportions.
Yeah, this feels rug pulls are seemingly way more common these days, and lots of people smell the rat early on, accusing Fantastic of a cash grab.
Twitter user Synth Potato accused Fantastic of running a scam, writing, "We all know you aren't shutting down because you lack funds, but because you're taking the money and running."
That's what it seems like. On the game subreddit, dumbfounded players wondered if things like this were common in the game industry.
Yeah, to which Nifty Madness responded, "There have been a few games that have done this, but not on this scale."
It is a historic mess, to put it mildly. And I really hope people could get their money back. I spent $40 on it. And I haven't requested a refund yet. I need to.
Get in there before the money dries up, Bruce, because they're stuffing it all in bags and climbing out the bathroom window as we speak. So yeah, as the episode winds down, I usually like to try to ask kind of an open question, but I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong here, but this seems like kind of an open and shut case now that it's over. What I'm kind of curious about is we got the news this morning that E3 is officially gone. They're not even going to try to bring it back in any way. It's just they're walking away from it. So, I don't know. Do you guys have any feelings about that? Any memories you want to share?
It being official, I suppose, has some merit, but I mean, this is years in the making now. I don't know how many people actually expected E3 to make a comeback. For one, their lunch got eaten during COVID by all of the I guess you couldn't have even called them competitors, but offshoots for a while, where developers like first Nintendo realized oh, we can just do this ourselves. We don't have to really connect it at all. We just do it on the calendar. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of nice to have an entity that didn't distribute the games itself, sort of responsible for not to say that they were completely unbiased, because marketing and money talks, but if you're getting the info direct from Xbox, direct from PlayStation, it's always going to have a little bit of that flair of we're so great, we're doing such a great thing, not to romanticize E3, but it's nice to have a slightly third party. And I don't know, I feel like the Game Awards, one of the replacements, doesn't really try to obscure the commercial aspects at all. I don't know. I mean, it's RIP, but it just couldn't have existed these days.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The only thing I miss is having all of my news in 3 days. I liked when now no company wants that. They don't want to be overshadowed by another release, overshadowed by another release over and over and over. But consumers, oh, I love it. It's just all at once, and it's just it's like a big party. It felt really fun. That's really the only thing I'm gonna miss.
Yeah, I agree. It was fun to have everything smashed together, but I feel like these days there's hundreds more games being made, so for those to get all crammed into 3 days, it's baffling. So I kind of like it being spread out a little more. The thing that I just now realized that I think I'm the most bummed out about is E3 was the last time. It was the last multi-company contributing event. Now it's kind of the Game Awards, but even that's deconstructing. I feel like game companies are kind of just siloing off. They're doing their own thing in their own way, and they're talking directly to the customers, and they're not working with each other even around marketing events. I guess they just try to dodge each other's calendars, but I don't know. In comparison to things like film that have organizations that are explicitly across multiple companies that kind of do coordination, and I don't know, it just seems like it's a step away from any kind of unionization or organization of labor inside of gaming when companies are starting to even wall off their marketing events to themselves. So, I don't know. I guess the future blowouts are going to be the companies that own 100 studios and show you what they're all working on. So I guess Microsoft. We have to wait for Microsoft to do some kind of Xbox showcase where they can tell us what the hundreds of developers they now own are working on. Or, I don't know if anyone saw Realms Deep this year, but it was 4 hours long, and I swear to God, they announced 120 new games in that thing. So that's part of the whole Embracer vortex. So yeah, it's gaming is turning into tech where fewer companies own more studios, and that's kind of how the marketing is starting to shape out. They don't want to play nice with anyone, so bummer.
Well, RIP E3, RIP the day before. Get your refunds, everybody. If you bought that game, you got to get your refund now, because I don't know if you're going to get it in 3 days. But these patrons, we have an Inside Games Patreon, and these patrons treat every scam as a learning experience. Sherwin Sanchez, Jonathan Lanowski, Xander, and Nick Calderon.
Well, I got some patrons that are still mad about a bad lunchroom trade about 15 years ago. You guys got to let that go. It was a good peanut butter and jelly, but it's gone now. Dylan Hiley, Regulus, Spirit Bear, and Tito 007. It's time to move on. Speaking of, this is a new segment. We don't really acknowledge the audience much here in Inside Games because we're so much smarter than them most of the time. But there were some interesting responses to our. I'm gonna be honest, it was mostly me getting really spicy during the Game Awards. Ethan Wilson wrote, I always feel like it's a flip of the coin as to whether Lawrence will be excited for or cynical about any particular thing. I actually understand that because sometimes it confuses me too. But I don't know, Bruce. I wanted to open a space where we could comment on. I don't want to say I want to own it. My cynicism about the Game Awards, because I don't want to put you in that camp. But I was curious if you wanted to say anything about it.
First of all, I want to ask Charlotte's opinion on the Game Awards because we obviously did not get to watch it with you. So I'm curious to see what you thought from an outsider's perspective before Lawrence and I talk about our drunken rants.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine my sober thoughts are not far off. I just like, we live in a time where like award shows have been long-running institutions with their own issues, and the Oscars and the Emmys, and you can try to be like, guys, let's not worry about the awards. It just kind of like excludes so much art that doesn't factor in where the money isn't at play. But like, you're also like, I am interested. I am going to watch the Best Picture ones. It's been kind of a bummer to watch the Game Awards gain like a legitimacy, like where like their game of the year holds water more than when every publication had its own game of the year. I mean, I love Baldur's Gate 3. I think it's an amazing game and worthy of many game of the year lists. But like, I just feel like gaming is so vast and has so many different tiers and levels and subdivisions that to sum it up in the Game Awards feels dismissive, just by definition. You can't, and then you get like, oh, well, these things didn't get recognized, so they're not worth your time.
It's interesting you say that, because I think that's a side effect of the Game Awards, because the Game Awards feels so commercial. So if they didn't have trailers, if we weren't worried about all the stuff that like, Jeff's talking to another Muppet or whatever, like any of that stuff, if it was just awards, then I think we could all be like, all right, this is a little more prestigious. They clearly care about the Game Awards. They clearly care about the games that they're giving awards to. But it's not. It's a show, and that's okay. Like I think this speaks to our cynicism a little bit. And hilariously, when Lawrence and I were going off, obviously we were drunk, so like we were just making fun of stuff, and this is what we do, and we've been doing it for years. People in the comments were like, I can't believe they're so cynical about video games. And then, I mean, I want to say one day later, every blog wrote an article about how the Game Awards had lost its way, and everybody else was cynical too. So it's very interesting to see people be upset at us, but then everybody else was saying pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Seeing people get pearl clutchy about the Game Awards is just kind of whack to me. It's like, what is Jeff Keighley doing for you? Like, imagine if there was a movie trailer for like an upcoming Marvel movie as part of the Oscars. How fucking crazy would that be? Like, Billy Crystal hobbles up there and he's like, there's a new Dune. What?
But they would probably get more viewership, which is kind of the core conflict of the show's motivation, which, I agree 100%, Charlotte. We don't owe the Game Awards any deference because they didn't. It's all facade, the Game Awards orchestra that plays for 45 seconds max. It's all to have the trappings of an elegant show, but in reality, it isn't one. They use the people who make the games as a prop to pack the room full of celebrities so they can sell us a bunch of commercials. It's dumb. The show being called the Game Awards tells you that it's conflicted with its own motivations, and so are its viewers, which largely show up for the game reveals. And because I've seen it in years past, man, an acceptance speech goes on more than 1 minute, and people start like just talking shit in chat, and they get bored, and they say boom off the stage, like all that kind of stuff. So it's dumb, man. It's dumb.
Yeah, it's not about recognizing anyone who makes the games, which in theory, it's almost like awarding it like the game won the award.
Yeah. Properties are the celebrity, and you want the big announcements, but kind of like for the same reasons E3 is dissolving, Jeff's ability to attract big announcements to his show is also dissolving, which I think is making the rest of it a lot easier to see. When the lights aren't shining in your face, suddenly you're like, wait a minute, this is a clusterfuck. What's going on? So, yeah, I like games a lot, which is the reason that the Game Awards, for all of its fake posturing, kind of bothers me. And yeah, after a few shots, that's going to come out in increasingly angry and louder volume. So, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that, but I think most people kind of understood and appreciated where we were coming from.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, look, I'll tell you what, I enjoy that stuff. I think it's great. I love watching that because I know what it is. It's a show. So whenever I see other comments that are like, you guys didn't provide enough deference to the Game Awards, like, guys, it's a show. It's just for fun. So
It's a goof 'em up.
yeah.
Yeah,
I love
maybe
it.
we'll see the Way Out guy come back, and then, that's a win.
Maybe you'll say fuck again.
Yeah, how classy, right? Imagine somebody at the Oscars said fuck the Game Awards. Oh, man.
So unreal, this thing. I was up on that stage 2017 saying fuck the Oscar, and now actually in a way the Oscars got fucked because the Game Awards is getting way better.